It is being projected that more than 50 million Americans will be fighting hunger by the end of this year. Has there been a time in your life when you didn't eat enough for the week? If you have never experienced this, you are extremely lucky. Even in the best of times, millions of Americans are starving, and those are definitely not the best times. Due to all the crazy things that have happened so far in 2020, a large number of people have been forced into dramatic lifestyle changes. Many Americans have cut their food budgets deeply due to lack of income. Others now only have 1 or 2 meals a day. And we are seeing more demand in food banks across the country than we were before. It is quite clear that a large number of people are really hurting, and Bloomberg reports that it is estimated that the number of starving Americans will exceed 50 million by the end of this calendar year. If one place underscores just how dire Americans' hunger problem has become during the pandemic, it is here, in the middle of the breadbasket that supplies food from coast to coast. The ranks of Americans fighting hunger are projected to swell some 45% this year to more than 50 million. Traxler, her husband and 6 children are among them. She had come to this spot, an empty school parking lot in the town of Mankato, to collect 3 boxes of food staples, milk and apples and carrots. Hundreds of Minnesotans waited in line ahead of her for hours. In my opinion, this is an absolutely surprising number. Currently, the United States has a total population of approximately 328 million, and this figure quoted by Bloomberg represents a sizable part of the country. And we certainly don't have to wait until the end of the year for the numbers to get really bad. In fact, a recent survey reportedly found that nearly 1/10 of all households in the United States did not eat enough food in a given week. During the pandemic, about 1/10 of American households reported they have not had enough food in a given week. That's a shocking figure for the world's richest country. It's more than double pre-COVID figures and the highest since comparable government data starts in 1995. I especially feel sorry for hungry children. Can you imagine how bad parents felt when their children told them they were hungry and their parents had nothing to provide? And this is just the beginning. Food prices will continue to rise rapidly in the coming year, and this will only further strain family budgets. A few days ago, I strongly encouraged my readers to stock up on food for the chaotic times ahead. Food prices will only rise and economic conditions will continue to deteriorate. In fact, some major layoffs have just been announced. For example, Ford announced that it will eliminate 1,400 white-collar jobs. Ford is looking to cut 1,400 white-collar jobs in a cost-saving move. The automaker sent out letters to employees Wednesday saying that salaried staff eligible for retirement will be getting early retirement offers next week. Those who take the offer by October 23rd will be leaving the company by the end of the year. Our hope is to reach cost-cutting targets with the voluntary incentive program, said the letter from Kumar Galhotra, Ford's president of the Americas. If that does not happen, involuntary separations may be required. The auto industry has been hit hard by the economic downturn associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Car sales are down significantly as millions of US workers have lost their jobs, and millions more are working from home and not in need of a new car to get to and from work. And United Airlines just announced that they will be furloughing more than 16,000 workers. With no air travel rebound or new federal help in sight, United Airlines says it will furlough about 20% of its frontline employees in less than a month's time. In a new memo to its employees, United UAL says that 16,370 employees will be furloughed when payroll restrictions attached to a federal bailout expire October the 1st. Because most Americans live for paychecks, a job loss can quickly put a family in trouble. Throughout the United States, we come across long-tailed people using beautiful vehicles, waiting for up to 6 hours to buy food at local food banks. Over the past 23 weeks, more than 58 million Americans made their first request for unemployment benefits, and many found themselves suddenly in need of food. For many, this is the first time something like this has happened to them. And many people I have spoken to believe that what we have been through so far is just the tip of the iceberg, and much worse is to come. There's such a sense of urgency in the air, and arms sales continue to break records. In fact, we learned in August that arms sales were 57% higher than last year. The Washington Free Beacon reported Tuesday that the US saw more gun sales in August 2020 than any other August since the FBI has been logging data on the subject. According to the outlet's analysis of FBI background check data, there were at least 1.6 million firearm purchases during the past month, a 57% increase compared to August of last year. Other Americans respond to our current situation by rolling in depression and despair. According to the Daily Mail, the number of Americans reporting symptoms of depression has tripled in the past 8 months. Researchers found that the percentage of US adults reporting mild, moderate, or severe symptoms tripled over the last 8 months. Having a lower income, less than $5,000 in savings, or stresses such as losing a job increased the odds of depression symptoms during COVID-19 by up to 2.5-fold. The team from Boston University School of Public Health says a high emphasis needs to be placed on mental health services and preventive services to mitigate feeling of anxiety or sadness before they begin. And as things get worse, a ton of people out there will not be able to handle it. So I really wanted my new book to be a book of hope. Yes, we're entering a much more horrible period in history than most people dare to imagine. But I believe there is hope in understanding what is happening. Hope in preparation, and hope in believing that God has everything in His hands. Many people out there still rely too much on the system, but when things are really crazy, the government will not deliver large baskets of food to your doorstep for you and your family. Millions of American families don't have enough food for food tonight, and more jobs are lost every day. You may think your job is safe, and hopefully that's true, but millions of people also thought their jobs were safe just before they were quit. Recently, a lot of people have asked me about gold and silver, and I have always thought a lot of precious metals. But you cannot eat gold or silver before you focus on precious metals. Make you store enough food for yourself, family, friends, and neighbors, because having enough food will absolutely critical when we get in.
Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.